Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are in another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Welcome all rookies.
I did that without hacking.
Nice. That's 5 seconds down.
Yeah, 5 seconds down. So I'm going to apologize for the rest of the show if I'm hacking through it. It's right after the holidays, so I'm dealing with, family was here and now I'm sick.
They should have a name for that.
Yeah, there should be a remedy for that.
Yeah, Christmas plague.
Yeah, exactly. Holiday plague.
A lot of people get that.
Yeah, totally.
And we decided it's not just the stress of the family, it's also the damn cookies.
Yeah, the cookies, the sugar. I definitely ate too much sugar. Ouch. Episode 130, Pita.
Yes, sir.
Real estate investing goals are usually for losers.
Losers.
Listen why. Now, last year we did goals are for losers.
So how'd you call it this year?
So this year, it's a little bit different because I actually have some really cool stuff to share today.
I hope so. I drove down from Newington, Bill.
Good.
What are you calling it, though?
It's real estate investing goals are for losers.
Oh.
Listen why.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Well, goals are for losers, so we just talk about real estate goals, so it becomes real estate goals are for losers. As we shall clarify momentarily.
This is going to be fun. Seems like a lot of investors tend to hit a point in their life where they want to throw down the gauntlet and battle attempts of setting goals, prearranging plans, and strive to take action not usually done in the amateur real estate investor's life. Why? Because for whatever reason, something is not going as desired, like in their life, and the amateur investor desires the outcome of this amazing skill of turning houses into income while being your own boss, making your own schedule, more family time, donate to church and charities, pay off debt, and maybe plenty of time off. Did you get any of those?
I got all of those, including the maybe part.
Yeah.
No, that's true. That's true.
So why do so many not make it? Or why are there so many who lose this seemingly easy goal? Listen to this podcast to hear exactly why. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, it looks good on paper. I wrote mine down a couple days ago. That looks good. Then okay, here it is today.
Right.
I got to order the signs. Okay, I'll go order the signs. I'll do that. Okay. Then you do the next step.
Well, I have to tell you.
Then it's the next day. Okay, I'll put the Craigslist ad up today.
Right.
And I do it. I'm just too slow for myself. I can be really fast at some things slower, and then I pick up the pace. I'm not at a good pace yet. I'm not.
Since we came out with this a year ago, goals are for losers.
Yeah.
I've actually figured some things out that I've been trying to explain to you for a year. and I guarantee you that by the time we get to the end of today's show, you're going to be so appreciative you're going to want to buy me lunch.
Can I have a paper and pen? I'm going to write these down.
Sure. So, let's start off with this.
Lunch, huh?
You're going to be so intrigued that you're going to want to buy me lunch.
Okay. Well, I'm dead on. I actually I took New Year's Day and did what you're supposed to do. I worked on stuff and just really planned. Right. Specific enough, not crazy, not sit there all day, but I got it pretty good and we're pretty fired up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty fired up. My check cleared yesterday from the last sales. It took days, and it clears. Okay, we're chomping down thousands on this bill and thousands over there. It's nice. Yeah. Chomp them down, chop, chop, chop.
Well, $40,000 at the end of the year is nothing to sneeze at, is it?
No, and I have a guitar I'm picking up today.
Nice.
Bill, guess where I'm getting it?
Where?
Walgreens.
Walgreens? Okay.
Turns out that heads up, folks, if you have a package coming from FedEx and you can't pick it up, they have sites, and it's not this big warehouse like 100 miles away. It's like everywhere, like every Walgreens, my town, the next town on the highway, everywhere. So you can just say, please send it to such and such, and you go pick it up. Isn't that crazy?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either until so that, and then looking for vacations, paying the bills down. Yeah, so that's what you're supposed to do, right?
I guess. I'm past all that. I
Wow,
don't do that
pay
anymore.
the bills. Let me look at the list. Pay the bills.
Yeah.
Go on vacation. Have time with your family. I'm doing that.
Good.
Okay, keep going. Intriguing me, Bill.
All right. So the ability to set goals, make plans, and take action on them determine the course of your life. Agreed?
Yeah.
Because people that do it are usually more successful than people that don't. That's been studies, right?
How could you not?
Right.
I mean, I know people don't even make goals.
Right.
I mean, for the day or tomorrow, so that's not going to work.
So here's the interesting thing. Just thinking about it unlocks or triggers certain creative juices in your mind, right? And often increases mental power for you. Just thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Don't you feel better when you get an idea like, hey, what if we did that? Wouldn't it be good?
Right.
And just the positiveness of that, the positivity.
It's like it gives you direction.
Yeah, but it gives you that energy I'm talking about. You just said the energy, like you can be sitting on your couch, I don't have anything to do, I feel tired.
Right.
Hey, you want to go to the concert? Concert?
Right.
Hell yeah. And all of a sudden you're awake.
Right. So very often this just makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it gives you hope for some problem or barrier you may have, and you can't overcome it.
Yeah, no, the hope of that. Yeah.
It gives you some strength.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like with you paying your bills and going on vacation, and I mean you're actually doing it now.
Yeah.
But when you first started, that's what aspired you to go through the anguish of getting to this point.
Yeah. It's any goal. It's work.
Right.
It's not just la-di-da. But if it's a good enough goal, what the hell?
Right. So, however, though this feels good, okay, most actually don't have some of the basic tools that will push them into reality like they plan it to.
Yeah. Well, you have to know what you're doing. You have to know before you go.
Right. So today, I'd like to talk about some of those fundamental laws in nature, right? Because they're there. You can either agree with them and get more motion, or you can disagree with them or not know they're there and get less motion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And they'll catapult your dreams from a wish into a hardcore reality. And that's a promise.
I'm listening, Bill.
You're going to buy me lunch today. Willingly, not just because I'm telling you that you're going to do that. I'm telling you, you're going to be so grateful what I'm going to go over with you today.
Bill, if it's good enough, I'm going to even buy Emma's lunch.
Wow, Em, did you get that?
Yeah.
Em's not talking. She got a frog in her throat.
Thanks, Pete.
All right. So first of all, systems or habits are the magic of attaining goals. So when I say goals are for losers, I'm not saying don't have goals. What I'm saying is if you don't have a system or your habits aren't wrapped around those goals, then the likelihood of them continuing or staying are going to be a constant fight.
Yeah.
Like dieting. You like cookies.
Mm-hmm.
So how long are you going to give up cookies for? Sooner or later, you're going to have a cookie.
Just on holidays.
Yeah. And then
New Year's, Valentine's. Yeah, there's too many holidays. Columbus Day.
Right.
George Washington Day. President's Day.
So once you have the thought about your goals and how to achieve them, what happens is the more you think about them and the more you put attention on them, the more they solidify.
Yeah.
Right? And the greater they become, and this kind of like fuels your inner drive and desire to accomplish them.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's different if you have a partner or doing it on your own? Just curious.
Right. So
I mean, I have you. My wife helps a bit. Has a lot of support. So, what do you think? Because people get knocked down if they're alone. Is it harder? Can they?
Yes. Well, think of it this way: the battery in your car,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
has a positive and a negative.
That's right. Just like life.
Right.
Sorry.
So if you were to take one of those away, say the negative terminal,
Yeah.
what happens to the current?
It can't go.
It doesn't move,
It
right?
can't go. No.
I mean, the current's still in the battery.
Can't flow.
It just doesn't flow,
Yeah.
right? So there has to be two terminals
Yep.
to be able to flow.
Right.
So our goals are the same way.
Mm.
Having two people with the same passion is a big help.
Yeah. Well, the passion is not always the same level, but it helps to have something, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. But if you have, we have each other, team, other people.
Yeah. So having comparable terminals of magnitude
Yeah.
is important.
Yeah.
So in other words, on the battery, if you have a positive that's got 30 amps and a negative that has 3 amps,
Yeah.
it's just not going to be
Does that,
sufficient.
so, metaphorically speaking, does that become 3 amps or 15?
Yeah, Peter.
No, I'm just one. Yeah. Or 0.
So here we go.
Yep.
So what really gets goals accomplished, and these are my own words, these are made up words, okay, are actions of passion.
Actions of passion.
Yeah. So if you're doing actions of passion, so what does passion mean?
Well, you have a lot of emotion in a certain direction, a real desire for something. It's not something you're forcing yourself to do. You really want to do it.
Yeah. So the innate or natural inclination to do it will always gravitate to it. Right.
Like it's intrinsic.
Right. Intrinsic. There's that word again.
I
was actually thinking that, but I didn't want to bring it up because I knew you'd turn it into something.
No, that's all. You just have to use it for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Use your words, folks. Learn your words and use your words.
So now let's talk about action. Okay?
Yeah.
So how do you get a return on your investment of activity? Mentally or physically?
How do you get a return? Well, if your actions are correct, you should get something back. I mean, if you do stupid actions, let's dust the office, let's vacuum.
Right.
Let's I don't know, let's do our books, let's balance the budget.
Right.
Those are fine, but it's not going to make you products.
Right.
So what do you mean?
So so if you're going to have action, then what do you get for a return? I mean, if you're going to do something.
Well, if you have it aimed at something for real, you should get something back eventually.
Right.
It depends what you pick. I mean, you can have all kinds of action. I think there's two kinds: look busy but don't get anything done, and the things that you really need to get done.
Right.
Right. So, but the things that are the easy ones, the unimportant ones are easier to do, and it looks busy.
So you just walked in to the nest of realizations. Here comes the epiphany. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
You ever hear of the 80-20 rule?
Yeah, I have.
So what most don't know is that a gentleman named, I got to read it right, Vilfredo.
Vilfredo?
Yeah, Vilfredo.
Oh.
Pareto.
Vilfredo Parento. That's a real name?
He's an Italian guy.
That makes sense. They're smart people, those Italians.
Here we go. He first wrote about this 80-20 rule in 1895.
They had people back then?
Yeah. So, there's a lot of newer gurus that talk about the 80-20 rule, like Perry Marshall. And
I thought it was Grant Cardone or someone.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
So what he noticed in Italy was approximately 80% of the land was owned by 20% of the population.
Okay.
And he called this the vital few.
Mm.
The 20%.
Yep.
The vital few.
My ancestors used to rent from those guys.
Right.
Yeah. You got screwed by one, too.
Yeah. It's not hard to do. Oh, my goodness. So, excuse me. He later discovered that virtually all of economic activity was subject to this. The 80-20 rule.
So 20% of whatever was creating 80% of whatever.
Right. Or what he called the vital few.
Yeah.
So the vital few, right,
Well, yeah.
created the other 80%.
Yeah.
No matter what it was.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess there's leaders and followers.
Right.
There's always fewer leaders.
So just to put it in context here, 20% of your customers always results in 80% of your profit.
Right? So you're looking for that.
Like I know, for example, we're doing a lot of fundraising at the church we're in, right?
Right.
If you look at it, it's an 80-20 rule. 20% of our donors will pay for 80% of the charity.
Yeah. Does that mean 80% will pay the other 20?
Right.
And vice versa. Okay.
20% of your marketing campaign will be 80% of your results. Right?
And 20% of the people out there trying to buy houses can get a mortgage and the other 80% can't.
Right.
That's funny.
Right.
In a way that matches.
Right. Okay. So, apropos to our goals, right? 20% of your activities will account for 80% of your results.
Holy cow, Bill. That means, Bill. That means that I can figure out the crappy 80%. I can only work 20% of the time.
Exactly.
But who's
I told you you're going to buy me lunch when we get done.
But who's going to mow the lawn?
mow?
and dust the room and sweep the floor and do all the stupid stuff?
Whoever accepts the check.
My little check?
No. Whoever you hand the check to.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's right. Mm-hmm.
So just let's do that again because this is vital.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 20% of your activities will account for 80% of your results.
Okay, you know what else?
What?
That's why it's hard to get to the important 20%.
Right.
Because there's 80% of things like, well, I have to neaten the desk. I have to, wash the car. And the things that you don't just completely neglect, but it's not the stuff that puts the money in your pocket.
Right.
But those things take up 80% of the time, so you never get to the 20%.
We're going to talk about it because I keep talking to you about, I keep saying to you, in private conversations, it's like you're doing what you want to do, not what has to be done. And this explains it better because that's what most people do is they like hobby horse.
Well, I mean, there's things that you it's like, do you never wash your car? Okay. Or how do you do that? And you're saying you can write a check and have somebody do it for you. When you get to that point, you could. Up until then, you don't quite have the money to do it, blah, blah, blah. So it's a little trick, it seems, to get from there to there. Like you have to put things on hold and just do the important things or start your day with the important things.
It's going to get better, Peter.
Okay, I'll shut up and listen.
No, you don't have to shut up. It's going to get better because you're like, this is exactly... It's like a coaching session right now. This is exactly what's happening is you're having these epiphanies.
Hey, Bill, am I in the hot seat?
You're in the hot seat, yeah. So if you drill it down to even further, this 80-20 rule, right? We find that 20% of our tasks will account for 80% of the value of what we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 20% of your tasks result in 80% of your value.
Can you give some examples?
Yeah, we're going to do that.
All right.
So this means that you have a list, if you have a list of 10 tasks, right, in a day, 2 of them will be much more valuable than the other 8.
I have my list in my pocket. I'm tempted to pull it out. I think I'll wait till lunch though.
So here's the point. First of all, I'd like to put the gauntlet down and just point blank tell you and my listeners that if you are not doing a to-do list every day, you're probably about 50% productive, if that much. I think it's more like 30%, but I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt today.
Well, I think it's worse than that. I think you're only like living for the day, getting through the day, and not creating anything future-wise that you could really care about that's important.
Right.
I mean, if you want to do anything, you want to have some friends over, you have to plan that.
Right.
If you want to see your granddaughter, you have to plan that. Not the things just don't like the door opens and like, oh, there it is.
Well, answer me this. Riddle me this.
Riddle me this.
Batman. So, I don't know if it's just me because, I've just turned 55 and I've been kind of dealing with, I don't remember as good as I used to.
Yeah.
So it could just be me. But I do know that when I wake up in the morning and I'm fresh and I write my to-do list, by the time I get to lunch, I have forgotten about some of those tasks because the environment has pushed me around or created new problems or created a new situation or posed to me some other something that made me forget about what was important that morning.
Sure.
So without a to-do list, you really don't. You lose that.
Well, it's like you say, you either sell life or life sells you. In this case, it's life because life does things. Even your own deals, your own things that you got to do. The plumber didn't show up, or whatever's going on. Somebody didn't pay the rent.
Right.
Those things. But those things you have to do because you have to do. But then you lose the important things on top of that. That's what you're saying.
So here's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, first of all, I didn't make this up. Okay, the task part of it, the 80-20% task. I didn't. Actually, that's from Brian Tracy in one of his books. Brian Tracy.
Oh, okay.
I read that somewhere in one of his books about.
So the 80-20 relating to specifically tasks. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's all fitting though.
So I want to give credit to where credit is due. This is not something that I invented or, I read a couple paragraphs in a book and then I applied it to my life. And what we're talking about is my experiences with that datum. Okay. But I want to give Brian Tracy credit for that.
Right.
Okay. So here's the thing. Try this. This has made a freaking huge difference in my life. When you write your to-do list, on the very top of the page, before you start writing, you put 20% in the left column.
Oh.
And you write down the 2 or 3 or 5 actions that are the 20%. Then you go, a quarter of the way down the page or whatever, and you write the 80%. Here's what I notice. If you do the 20%, because here, actually, I got to figure out how to say this. So here's what I noticed.
Yeah.
Let's start from that. What I was doing before is skipping over the 20% stuff, like you said earlier, and working on the 80% stuff. Because the 20% stuff is usually stuff you don't want to confront or it's harder to deal with.
Isn't it also like longer range than some of the other things like right now crap, the 80%?
Not necessarily.
No? I mean in terms of return.
Not necessarily.
All right.
Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
And we're going to go over what some of these 20%, that's what the second half of the show is going to be, is what are the 20% things that you should be doing as an investor?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we can really hammer this home. Okay? Last week was the holidays. I bought a 3-family house. It was what you could say in the sales terminology or sales industry, it's called a laydown. You know what that means?
It came really easy.
Yep.
Yeah, it just fell in your
my
lap.
Right?
Yep.
I bought it for what the guy owes on it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the number was like with decimal points, like 124,834.85.
Oh, really?
That's what I paid for it. I paid what he owed.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't an even number. It was exactly what he owed.
Uh-huh.
I bought it with no money down, 3-family house, no money down, with about, I think, $800 or $1,000 a month positive cash flow.
Yep. Terrible.
I bought
Isn't that terrible?
I bought it on a lease with an option to buy. So I didn't even buy it. I'm just controlling it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I was working on the 80% stuff and for several days didn't write the lease.
Why?
Just because things happen, like the environment and pressures, and I got to answer this email, and I got to make this phone call, and I got to go here. I have this meeting.
Yeah. I saw a good piece of advice. I think it was Pat Clouden, guy from businessman in Florida. He said, when you get up in the morning, don't do your emails. Don't do all that stuff.
Right.
Just don't even look. Just do the things you know you're supposed to do, and then look later. How much of that is important?
Right.
But what people do, like, let me see my email. Let me see what people are telling me.
Right.
And that'll totally distract you. I mean, there could be something important. If there is, go get it. But he made that kind of a point because that's one of the first things people do in the morning. Just check the phone, check the mail, check the.
Right.
See, like, let me see what the universe is throwing at me to stop me and slow me down.
He has a pen name. I don't know what his pen name is, but you should read his book. It's called Crisis by Design.
That's Pat?
You ever write that book? You ever read that book? Crisis by Design.
No.
It's a pen name. I forgot. Could you look that up, please? Crisis by Design. It's not Pat Clouden. It's his pen name.
Mark Twain.
Yeah, something. Great book though.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I'm talking about. Is that's 80% stuff.
What?
John Truman Wolfe. That's his pen name. It's actually Patrick Clouden.
Don Truman Wolfe. Okay.
It's John, isn't it?
John
John Truman Wolfe.
Okay.
$19 on Amazon. Could you put the link in Facebook for me, please?
Crisis by Design.
Yeah, great book. Great book. Well, it's a shorter version of
Jekyll Island?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I mean, he goes right for the jugglers in that book.
Okay. Short's good. Right to the point.
Yeah, he doesn't do the history, but he goes right for where Crisis by Design. Anyways, what you're talking about is doing the 20% first.
Yeah.
So let's go back to my lease option. So on Friday, I draft the lease and I email it to him. On Saturday, I'm sitting in a Dunkin' Donuts. He's signing all the documents, giving me keys, telling me he wants me to collect the rents by the 1st of the month.
Which is like 4 days away or so?
Yeah.
And you could have done that a week or earlier, perhaps?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 2080.
Yeah. I make my list for the day, and I tend to highlight what I think is what I should do today, but it's not geared to 2080. It's just what I think I should do today.
Right.
Or like what I want to do today, maybe. But that's a good one.
Right.
That's a good one.
So when you were bringing up that it would take time, that's the point that I'm trying to make is no, it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay.
It's what activity is going to give me the most return.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking of things like I should send the yellow letters out. And, that takes a time to go, come back, and lead. But you had one sitting in your lap. I got it. Right. Okay.
It doesn't matter. Time doesn't have anything to do with it.
Okay.
It has to do with what am I going to get back as a return. Right. So obviously, if you're not doing anything, then yes, getting your marketing out is important.
That would be your move.
Right.
I mean, a lot of us don't have any houses or a lead or whatever, but you have houses, leads, and so something like a lease to us is like, oh my God, I got a lease. And to you, it's like, yeah, I got a lease.
Right.
So it falls in like huge importance to you because you have 10 already. It's another one. It's not like the only one like we would have, one of us guys working on it.
Right.
We might do it early just because we're like freaking out.
Right.
And you're casual. So it slips a little.
Right.
That's funny.
So does it make sense? 20,
yeah,
80. So
no, that's really good just on the list because there's too many things on the list.
So I spent an hour drafting the documents on Friday morning. I spent an hour and a half with him, and we spent probably about an hour just chatting about other things because I've done other business with this guy. And told me that he has another one. He's going to Florida the 19th of January. and he wanted me to get familiar with the tenants. So we're going to go Friday night and collect rents.
Mm-hmm.
I've already paid him the mortgage payment, or I'm going to pay him today the mortgage payment, or the lease payment.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start collecting rents, right? So I'm going to start collecting my $900 or whatever, $900,000 positive cash flow.
Right.
Right. So it's a week later, and I already got positive cash flow for all right. So I had to put up a mortgage payment of, I think it's $1,500 or $1,800 or whatever it is.
Yep.
But I'm going to get that back.
Yeah. Well, that beats 10% down, 5% down, 20% down, 100% down. I mean, it beats all of that.
Right. So
I mean, you don't want to just take things for absolutely nothing. Wouldn't you feel bad?
Right.
You want to have.
So I spent an hour on it on Friday and an hour and a half with him on Saturday, and then this coming week I'll spend another couple hours with him meeting people and collecting rents.
So
then it happens every single month. Kiyosaki talks about that, right? How to become wealthy.
Yeah.
He calls it how to become wealthy, not rich.
Oh, yeah.
How to become wealthy.
Yeah.
And what he talks about is if your monthly bills are $4,000 a month,
mm-hmm.
and you have an asset that spits off $5,000 a month.
Yep.
Right? In other words, passive income.
Mm-hmm.
You're wealthy.
Yeah.
Because what he measures is the asset, how much work you have to put into the asset to get a return.
Yeah.
So in this particular case, if you have $4,000 worth of bills and you're bringing in $5,000 worth of money, you got 20% for reserves,
mm-hmm.
and you can pay your bills. But what makes you wealthy is you didn't have to work for it 40 hours a week.
That's right. People talk about, being rich because they think don't have to work. So really the point is not having to work and have money, pay your bills, and money to do things with.
Right.
Yeah.
Which irritates the living crap out of me, which we will not go over this morning because I'm not feeling good and I can get into a real grumpy fest right now.
No, don't hurt your voice, Bill.
Why people want to do flips.
Mm.
I don't get it.
Mm.
If you go back to episode number 114, I know that because I've been telling a lot of people about it lately, it's where to get money to buy real estate.
Sure.
And we talk about, in that episode, it's only a 30-minute podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The first place is with the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Second place is with hard money and private money, which
mm-hmm.
is usually private money is usually IRA money.
Right.
And third place is with your buyer.
Yeah.
So here's the part that confuses the living crap out of me.
Yes.
What does a realtor do? Where do they get their money to buy the property?
The buyer.
So why is this such a hidden secret? Why is it that when people
'cause
like me come along and say you can buy real estate without any money, they're like, oh, that's a scam. Oh, that's blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Why? The realtor's been doing it since September 13th, 1949.
It has to be the time factor. It's the only thing I can think of because there's time added in because it comes over time instead of instantly from the bank handing you a big wad so everybody can finish and go home and feel like they're done with less money. With less money. Because cash is less. Time is more. So.
Okay.
So I can only
do
guess.
it all the time.
Yeah.
Why do I do it all the time? And I didn't realize this until just recently, is because I try to concentrate on the 20%. The 80% to me is minutia.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that, especially Emma knows me that. Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
We did a meetup a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a social media guy, right?
Sure.
And he wants the content from the meetup.
Yeah.
Right? He wants the video.
Yeah.
So there's 3 SD cards.
Mm-hmm. 3 cameras, 3 cards.
You have 1 and we have 2.
Yep.
And he has, and I see him at the church and I see him, around, and he's like, did you bring me the SD cards? Finally, the other day, he said to me, Bill, what's the matter with you? And I looked at him and thought to myself, no, what's the matter with you? Because I'm thinking the SD cards are like the 80%.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I mean, really all it's for is just social media in hopes that I'm going to get somebody to buy a course later on. It's not a direct return on investment.
Huh.
It's not the 20% that writing a lease.
Yeah, well, that's more.
Getting a house.
Yeah.
Right? It's much different.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to a coaching student and buying a house
Mm-hmm.
is much more important to me.
All right.
Right? Now, I'm not saying that I don't do the 80%. It's just what do I focus on?
Mm-hmm.
I focus on the 20% that's going to give me the 80%? In other words, what can I do? It's kind of like this. What can I do to have the most impact
Right.
for the least amount of effort, time, and resources?
Well, when you have 100% of things on a list, you just can't get them all done.
Right.
So if something's going to fall by the wayside, is it the 80% or the 20%? And unfortunately for a lot of us, it's some of the 20%, half of it at least. And then like, oh, I mowed the lawn,
Right.
which has to be mowed again next week. And
So let's talk about.
hey, Bill, you'd be proud of me. I hired the 9-year-old kid to do my leaves this year.
Nice. I didn't do the leaves. The guy said he was going to do my leaves, and I had to go out and rake them the other day because his lawnmower is broken.
Oh yeah. Like
So
I finally mowed my lawn. I think 2 weeks ago when it was a decent day, like in December, just to finish that last, like get it done in the front. Only the front though. So I hope you're proud of me. I didn't finish the garden. Didn't finish the backyard. See, I'm leaving some of the 80% on the table.
Good.
Yeah.
So, if you had a locomotive going down the tracks, say at 5 miles an hour, a train,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it couldn't go anymore, and the engines and everything works, what would that mean? That would mean there's a force on the other side pushing it the other way, right?
Right.
And that force is more powerful than the locomotive to be able to make it either A, stop,
5 miles.
or push it the other way, backwards.
6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Right, so there's some other counter force
Right.
that is stopping it. Okay, so I decided to look at that. So what is the counter force in actually that stops people from hitting their goals?
What'd you come up with?
Here we go. What happens is most people have the ability, are willing to, or they don't have this. I'm sorry, they don't do this.
Okay.
Okay, they don't have the ability or the willingness to delay gratification
Yeah.
and make short-term sacrifices so you can enjoy greater rewards in the long run.
Would you believe I was thinking that on the way in? I was thinking about you. Like, so what does Bill do? He just puts some stuff aside and he just goes for it. And you put some things aside for a bigger payout later.
Right.
Really. That's what it is. And that's why anybody would do anything. Why do you go to work? Well, you get that check at the end of the week. But, okay, now what? What's a bigger game than that? So I was actually thinking about that on the way in.
Nice.
Yeah.
So let's get profound for a minute.
What that wasn't. No, I know. More profound.
So, is it real to you that you can have a thought? Well, is it real to you that thought controls the environment?
Yeah.
There's nothing in this world.
And we don't mean like, woo, and if you can do that, you let me know. That's fine. But no, things happen because I look at my yard. There's a tree. Why? I think I'll buy a tree today. And I bought the tree and I put it there. But a thought came first.
All over. McDonald's is
Hey,
there because
are you
somebody had
hungry?
a thought. Yeah.
Are you hungry? What you want to eat? Where do you want to go? McDonald's. So
Right.
it's first a thought
Right.
in response to whatever, but it's a thought comes along.
Kohl's wouldn't be Kohl's if somebody didn't have a thought. Starbucks wouldn't be Starbucks unless somebody thought it up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there was an idea, an image, or an imagination before it started.
Yeah, I read that paragraph, the Starbucks one.
Yeah.
He's in Italy. What great atmosphere these coffee houses have. People come, they sit, they talk, and they take their time. We don't have that in America. Why don't I do that in America? A thought in Italy. And they brought it here.
Right.
That's one example.
So that makes sense, right?
Mm.
So if that's true, right, then why do we have to use force? Right? I mean, we have the power to think something and be passionate about it and believe, here's the trick, believe in ourselves that it's going to happen, and it will happen.
I'm glad you put it that way, because I've had people have conversations. Well, I don't believe that. I don't trust that. And I say, no. You don't believe in yourself. You don't trust yourself. If you trust yourself, what are you worrying about? Well, what if he scams me? Do you trust yourself? Trust yourself. When it looks bad, don't do it. When it looks right, just do it.
Right. So here's a
Trust yourself.
great analogy of that. A bird, right? A little tiny bird is flying and sees a tree, like this time of year, no leaves or nothing on it, right?
Yeah.
In Connecticut, anyways.
Uh-huh.
So he sees a tree, and he goes to land on the twig. Is he worried about if the twig is going to hold him or not? If it's
No.
going to break?
No, because if it breaks, he just keeps flying.
He has confidence in his own wings.
Yeah.
He has confidence that it's not going to, if it does break, he could just fly away,
Right.
right? So imagine if you had that all the time.
Right. So if something happens, I'm doing a deal and something happens,
Right.
I can figure it out, or I can ask somebody what to do and not have to worry that you'll go broke.
So here's what I learned from a partner of mine, an old partner, is that you don't think with your checkbook.
What does that mean?
You don't make decisions based on the checkbook. In other words, how much money you have. You make decisions based on the greatest good for the greatest number involved.
So if you see some kind of a deal, you don't think you can swing it financially, but it's a really good deal, you just go figure it out some way.
Right.
You get somebody in it, you do something.
Well,
you
if
don't
the most
walk
amount
away.
of people involved are going to benefit from it, then it will fly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, I can't see what the time is up there. What is it, 40 minutes? Is that what it is, Em? Okay. So here we go. I want to just make sure I'm at pace here.
Yep.
Time management is really life management or personal management,
Yeah.
right? In real estate, it's just really controlling. Now, pay attention to this. This is really, I think I've done a really good job of succincting this today. Now, maybe I'm just being arrogant, but honestly, I worked on this for a few days, this podcast. This
Okay.
was not something that I just did this morning. I've been working on it for days.
No, you got a lot of pieces of paper.
Yeah. In real estate, it's what makes us successful. Now, please pay attention to this because it's really this simple. What makes real estate successful is controlling the sequence of events to hit the goal.
That sounds too simple.
So, I mean, think about it. I have a goal of having passive income. I just bought 3 multifamily houses within 2 months on lease options. I'm sorry. Yeah, on lease options. I didn't buy them at all. But I'm controlling somewhere around $2,500, $2,800 worth of positive income.
It's funny because people think, well, who would give that up? You know, without money down, and who would give that up? Well, people get to the point where they don't want it anymore.
This guy told me point blank 3 times that he talked to at least 25 people that do what I do. I'm like, oh, what is that? You know, not give me all the money right away.
Huh.
I said, okay. He said, but your name keeps popping up. He's like, you're the guy. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, your name keeps popping up.
Like where?
Like just in general, online, when he went online and when he's talking to other people, my name kept popping up.
Oh, okay.
He's like, so you seem to be the most trustworthy and the longest guy in the arena, like in my area.
Wow.
So I'm gonna do this with you.
See, how do you make that happen?
Yeah.
Just real, honest work year after year.
Right. So there's no magic to this. I'm not anybody special. I'm telling you right now, right here, please pay attention, that all I did was figure out how to control the sequence of actions to get to the goal.
Yep.
That's all I did. So when I say goals are for losers, I really mean if you don't follow the correct sequence of events, which is really the 20%, okay? You're just wishing with rosy-colored glasses on the outcome.
True that.
So it doesn't have to be hard. There's not a lot of studying that has to be involved. All you have to do is just know how a real estate deal flows. How does a slot deal flow?
Mm-hmm.
How does because every deal, you know, Peter, every deal we've done, there's never been 2 alike.
Yeah, they really do vary.
They all have their
But-
nuances.
But the thing is, you know all your tools, and I've learned some of them. You always have more ways to skin the cat, more tools in your belt that I might not have heard about yet, or how you combine your tools.
Right. But they aren't tools; they're actual sequences.
Mm-hmm.
It's how things flow.
Well, I'm thinking of like for each step, like how do you do it correctly, or maybe you could do something a little different on a step.
Right.
Because I'll hit a step and like, what do we do? And I'm thinking I should do this. You go, no, I got to do blah blah. Oh, just do that, and that step is done.
So think of it as
you have,
like
better knowledge.
Think of it like you're in the woods, right?
I'm in the woods.
There's water on the ground.
Yeah.
And it's like not a stream, but like it's an inch wide or 2 inches wide, and the water's like running through the ground of the forest.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, it hits something and it jarts to the left.
Yeah.
Do you get the picture?
Yeah.
To me, that's how deals are.
Yeah.
So when it goes to the left, I think to myself, well, where's it going? Okay, let's do this now.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a sequence for when it goes left. Okay, if it's going to go left, then let's just follow this sequence.
Right.
If it's going to go straight, we follow this sequence. If it's going to go right, we're going to follow this sequence.
Right.
The point is that once I see the motion of the seller's willingness to do something,
mm-hmm.
I then set the sequence in place.
Right.
So I can have a desired goal or outcome.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, those, and
Right.
we're trying to learn that. So when the little flow of water takes left, we don't go what?
Right.
Because at first you have to be, I guess you have to be willing to let it take the damn left.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Because
It doesn't matter to me if it goes left, right, center, backwards. It doesn't matter where the water goes. I just know that I'm going to just.
I have two tools for that creek at this juncture, and if it goes straight, I think I'm going to be okay. If it goes left, like, oh, what do I do?
Right.
That can happen. And I might have one or two angles that don't fit, and you have 5, and you know the one that fits.
Right.
So that's why we listen. That's why we're listening to the podcast. We do the courses, go to the meetups, get coaching, because I've heard your students like, what do I do now? They just don't know that piece of data for that little bit.
That's why the how to buy money without a real estate loan, or how to buy real estate without a loan, is most valuable, because it has those tools in it.
That's crazy how much is in there.
For the amount of money I sell it for, it's ridiculous. We're going to change that. It's probably going to double or triple.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to add a few more things to it, and I'm just going to go up in price. I think I'm selling it too cheap.
Yeah. But to me, it's not just how cheap it is or the amount of money. It's how right to the point everything is. It doesn't have all this extra stuff. You know what your courses have, Bill? The 20%.
The 20%. That's right.
That's
a good point.
I'm not totally. We talk about it, but we never state it.
Right.
You go to seminars, you go to this place, that place. It's 100% of whatever the heck, but 80% of it is like, forget it.
Right.
That's where I was stuck a bit in the 100%, and I honed it down to the 20 with you, and started doing deals.
Right.
So your stuff is the 20%.
Yep. It's a valuable point.
Really?
So it's these sequences that have to become habits that will make you a real estate Donald Trump in your area or in your family. It's understanding these sequences, which is, you're 100% correct. I mean, that's a great analogy. It's what we talk about is the 20%.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's wind down here. We got 10 more minutes. So let's cover a few of the things that you should do so you get a gist of what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first task you must master. It's just you're not going anywhere unless this happens. Is getting people who have real estate for sale to call you.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first thing you got to do.
Yeah.
You shouldn't call them. They should call you.
Mm-hmm.
But get them to call you. Now, I know that we talk about FSBOs and calling FSBOs, and that's correct. I am working on, a little bit slower than I want to, but I'm working on getting FSBOs to call us. I have a whole little system that we're getting ready to test where we actually send them mail, direct mail, and get them to call us.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't have to be calling them, because what I have found is that most people don't like cold calling.
Yeah.
And most important, I have found that cold callers are pure wackos. So when you get somebody that's a good, get on the phone and just call people, they're just, I mean, not all of them, but a vast majority of them are just out to lunch. And they never seem to do it right. And there's always off script, and it's just a battle.
Yeah.
And I decided that I'm not going to fight that battle.
Because we call up and they think we're that idiot. Right. Sorry. We're that person that's just not trained enough to do it right.
Right.
And they already have the bad taste in their mouth. We start talking, they're not even listening.
Right. So I'm in the midst of this year. I plan on releasing at least a dozen books on different topics of real estate. I think 3 or 4 of them are already written. One of the things that I am going to write, and I'm in the middle of, in fact, I think that we're going to do it as a podcast. Maybe not next week, but the week after. Is the name of it is going to be, let me get it here, 7 Ways to Sell Real Estate Without a Realtor. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to write a report or a book that a seller could read that explains the different ways they can sell their houses and the benefits to them. Right?
Right.
And it's going to be pretty cool, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So first thing you want to do is you want to master getting people to call you. People that have houses just for sale to call you. You got to find them and communicate to them.
Oh, boy.
That part is hard for some people.
Yeah, because talking isn't communicating.
Right.
Talking is yapping. Communicating is really connecting. You know the word uni means one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, uno, uni.
Okay.
Uno. It means one.
Okay.
Com means together.
Right.
Communicate means being together.
Right.
That crazy?
That's cool.
I had to look it up one day.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But when you're communicating, you're really being together. You're connected. You're not just yapping back and forth and moving further apart and just bouncing.
You're sharing mental image pictures, and you're agreeing that they're
yep.
that you both like those pictures or agree on those pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So, I had a thought there. I lost it. Okay, so
you talking about the letters or contacting for sale by owners or something else?
Yeah, I was thinking about communicating.
Sorry if I threw you.
Yeah, no. So I got it. So here's the thing that I have found to be very peculiar: is if you have to cold call someone, you have a bunch of hesitations, which is bizarre because the only cold call we do is to FSBOs, and they're looking for you to call them.
Right.
Interesting thing I find with my coaching clients is that when we use yellow letters and some of the other attracting motivated sellers that we do, when they get a person that calls them about a house that they have for sale, they pick the phone up right away and call them.
No, they're okay with those.
Yeah.
Because they know they're interested.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like so bizarre. It's kind of like, when you're in high school. It's like, hey, did you know that Susan likes you? She does?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, she's like got a crush on you. Really? Oh, I think I'll go talk to Susan. Mm-hmm. Or the other way around. Hey, did you see Susan? The cheerleader squad? The cheerleader in charge or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really hot. Oh my God.
Why don't you go talk to her?
Why don't you go talk to her?
Yeah. No, she won't like me.
No, she won't like me.
See, no, she won't. How do we have those same words all in our heads?
Right?
Why don't you go talk to her? No, she won't like me.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Mm-hmm.
So as a master real estate investor, you got to figure out how to get those people to call you.
That's really clever. Because it's, kind of a norm to call for sale by owners.
Right.
But your norm is to have people call you. And you have called them, you've just gone ahead and done it. But they must hit you one day like, why am I calling them? They should be calling me, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And Emma and I have talked about it in great length. I mean, we actually have a list. In fact, I want to share it with you today.
No, I have names I'm piling up. I'm that close, like a day or two from calling them. So I'm trying to set my whole flow up. And if you got something to send them, I'd rather do it that way. I don't mind.
I don't have anything yet, but what I want to do, here's what I want to do.
Yeah. Because you said mail to them, huh?
Yeah. What I want to do is I'm a Dan Kennedy guy.
Yeah.
I have been for 20 years.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And he talked about many, many moons ago a shock and awe package. So you send the interested one a shock and awe package.
Right.
You know what else occurred to me too? And we're way off topic right now, but you know what else occurred to me?
What's that?
I'm such an asshole sometimes. I make some of the dumbest mistakes ever because I know better.
Uh-huh.
Think of it this way. If I call you up and say, hey, Pete, I do a FSBO script with you.
Yeah.
Right? And I say, hey, Pete, I think I'm going to come look at your house.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I go out there and look at it today?
Because you don't want to lose a sale, Bill.
Exactly. How about if I tell them I'm busy and I can't come out till next week, but I'm going to mail you a package and you should check it out before I get there.
Okay.
And actually pre-frame the sale so before you get there, they've already done most of the presentation before you get there.
Sure. And if they really, really hate it, then you don't even go, right?
They'll call you back and say, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. And if they have that much information that they understand it that well, then there's no sense arguing with them.
Why
if they really
are we
don't.
doing that?
Because you know why? No one else has ever come up with it, and you're smart enough to finally figure it out. I mean, it's not all sitting in there.
Why not? I mean, we're talking about a huge sale.
Yeah.
100,000, 200,000, 300,000.
I was just reading some one of our books, and it said, don't forget your credibility pack. Like, credibility pack? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I don't have one. And I have few things I could put in it. Right. But it's along those lines, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're sending your credibility before you even get there,
right.
So that they have trust in it.
Why not have, like I have, for example, I have done my presentation for my coaching clients on a video.
Yeah.
I give it to my coaching clients. Why couldn't I burn that on a DVD and put it in a package and mail it to somebody with a free report? 7 ways that you can sell real estate without a realtor.
All right.
Why not? Show them how to do loan to value ratio. Give them the cost to sell worksheet.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
really?
I don't know. I'm playing.
Oh,
with it in my head. That's what we gotta talk about.
Well, we've talked about that too, because when we go in there, they know what the realtors do, but they don't know what we do, and it's a little bit of a shock to try to explain everything to them in that 90 minutes.
So we do over and over again in the 90 minutes our presentation to indoctrinate them that there's 7 other ways to sell their real estate other than, in other words, what we're doing is we're actually giving them a choice.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then the cost to sell worksheet decides what they should do. Right.
Yeah, that's actually exciting. So I'm studying on a stack of like FSBOs I just pulled in. I got a service and I got a stack of them. And I'm getting all my marketing out, getting all the stuff ready. So I'm all ready to just like give it a good blast,
Right.
But then I'm like, I know you're working on this other stuff. So I'm like, what's Bill got?
Yeah.
Should I text them? Is there a letter that we're sending out? What is that? Because, it's not just a matter of saving work. It's if you can enlighten the people how it really could go.
Easier.
Yeah, but you know what else it is? People can't change their minds that fast.
Yeah.
They can't.
Well,
even if you're right in 90 minutes.
For me, it's a little bit different because I obviously have success. I already know that.
Yeah.
So if I could put all this in words and give it to somebody like you, now it's me selling your client.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on because we're way off topic here and we need to end off.
Sorry, I liked it though.
So the second thing you need to do is you need to be able to pre-sort your incoming leads.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You need to put them in buckets, prospects and suspects.
Okay.
Right? And only talk to the motivated sellers. Right?
Right.
Whack the time-sucking suspects. Whack them. Get rid of them. Marlon Grant says that.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, that's about 95% of the leads coming in is going to be a suspect.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the important task is to set up, and this is the 20%. So if you know this, the important task is to set up a marketing machine that does this for you. Right? Once you set it up, it has big returns. So you spend 20%, that's one of your 20% tasks is to set this up.
Yeah.
Right? Now this is important. If you do what I tell you, in fact, we're probably going to have to do a whole episode just on this.
Okay.
Okay? It allows you to cherry pick the deals. So what makes me different than most is the amount of deal flow that I get, and I cherry pick the deals. Now, one of the things that we learned this year was you have to have multiple marketing campaigns.
Yeah.
And you have to have the ability to sort through your deal flow so you can pick the good deals, cherry pick the deals.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that kills people in the business is just getting killed by the 80%. You know?
Exactly.
Too many bad calls.
80-20 rule. We're dealing with the 80% instead of the 20%.
Yep.
So you got to be able to cherry pick the deals.
Yep.
Okay. I found that most don't have the credit or the money. This is the third thing. Most don't have the credit or the money to buy real estate with banks. I mean, just because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Right. So they have no choice but to start with creative financing. Right. Which is our specialty. It's my specialty.
Right.
Right. Most listen to this podcast just because they're in that same boat. Mm-hmm. They don't have credit or don't have money or don't want to use their credit or want to use their money, and they want to do what we do. They want to become specialists, right?
Well, you're not supposed to have in order to do.
Right.
You're supposed to do in order to have.
Right.
So theoretically, a person should be able to start something from scratch, a business, relationship, anything from scratch.
Right.
Not rely on money to get you there.
Right.
Like, is that girl dating you because you're you, or you have that fancy red car?
Exactly.
And how long is that fancy red car going to last? What?
So if we decide to be a creative financial specialist, right, and use no credit or no money,
mm-hmm.
we must create our odds a lot. Because if we're saying 95% are suspects,
yeah,
okay, when we find somebody, we really can't afford to waste them. We got to increase our odds.
Oh, sure,
right. So the way we do that is we deal with the pretty house business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so which brings us to the most important four things that you know, which is a 20% rule as far as I'm concerned. Brings us to the most important tasks. Okay, for our highest return in the pretty house business.
Mm-hmm.
Those four things are: agree on the price first. So know how to get the guy's bottom price.
Right.
Or ability to agree on a price.
Mm-hmm.
Have the ability to agree on a monthly payment.
Mm-hmm.
Have the skill or ability to agree on the length of the term.
Mm-hmm.
And then have the ability or skill to agree on the deposit or the option money.
Okay.
If you could do those four things, then you are me. You could you could buy real estate all day long.
Mm.
So when I go into a deal, right, or I'm talking to somebody, the 80-20% comes down to this. 80% of the conversation's chit chat.
Yeah.
The 20% of the conversation that we need to get is these four things. So you tell me very often when we go into a deal that I'm very casual.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I casual? Because I know I need to get these four things, and that's all I need. All the rest of it is whatever they want to talk about. I talk about it for half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever. At the end of the day, I'm leaving with these four things.
Is there anything specific, or is there anything in the 80% of conversation that you should be doing to help the 20%?
It's just rapport building.
Okay.
I mean,
you're also finding out what they really need, aren't you? And is that part of the 20%?
Yeah.
You're finding out what their concerns are. How long do they have? Are they in a hurry? All those details.
Right.
How much they need.
Right.
How much they really need.
We've done many shows on solving that problem.
Yeah, and that's in the 80%. But that's important to get to that. Okay.
That's right. So on number 4 above, I wrote 4 above because that's the way I wrote it. But on number 4, which is agree on the deposit and the option deposit, I got to tell you, I don't talk about that.
No, because when you're going through the 3 steps, like, what's the 4th one? Oh, and I'm thinking, You only do that if you have to.
If they request it, then I talk about it. Otherwise, I don't talk about it. I just tell them that I'm going to give them a $100 option deposit, and that's it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I closed on that deal with this dude, and he asked me the other day. He's like, back when I see him on Friday night, he says, "Aren't you supposed to give me $100?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, don't worry about that." I'm like, "No.
No.
No, I'm going to bring you a check."
That'd be legal.
Yeah.
That'd be legal.
Yeah.
And it's a check, not cash, so you can track it and verify.
Right. So the last thing I want to talk about is, at the end of the day, the most important task that you should do is measure what you manage. Manage what you measure. So you must measure something.
Okay.
And here's what I'm telling you to measure. Offers. See, if you're this one activity will give you the biggest bang for your efforts and allow you to hit any goal, because it's like the fulcrum. It's like right in the middle.
Right.
So what happens is if you don't have leads or your marketing's broken and you're not making offers, then you need to go fix that. Vice versa, if you had deals like I had a deal and you're not getting it done, then it'll back up the pipeline. The pipeline will get full and you won't get leads. Right. And you'll stop making offers because you didn't finish the deal. So the best way to measure your business is how many offers are you making, right? And we've talked about in many, many podcasts, right? We talked about when you're first new, it's about 15 offers you have to make before you actually get a deal.
Right.
So how long does it take you? Does it take you a week, a month, a year, 2 years?
Yeah, well, what's it take to get the 15 offers? So you back that up.
I'm going to actually add that to my coaching applications. How many offers have you made? Because then I know what they're doing. What they're doing is they're doing more of the 80%, not enough of the 20%. Because making offers is like the 5% that you need to be doing. Because if you really want to get technical, and I'm going to jump off the deep end now, and we're not going to talk about it because we're already over time limit. But if you take the 20%, so you got 80-20, right? Right. So if you take the 20% of the activity you're supposed to be doing to get the best results, and then you break that down to 80-20.
Ooh.
What are those things?
Wow. I have my opinion.
Yeah. Making an offer is that thing.
Is the 20. And the 80 of the 20 is the things that get you there.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So if you're not making offers, you're not in the real estate business. And this is a very offending thing to say, but I get a lot of emails on it, so I know that it hits a chord. If you're not making offers, it's mental masturbation. You're not really in the real estate business. You're just doing something else. And that's it.
Yep.
So how did I do?
You get lunch.
I get lunch?
You get lunch.
I think you would buy me lunch anyways.
Sure. No, there's some important things in there. I mean, I do make plans. I do try to focus on things and try to get them all done, but you can't get them all done. You can think more than do things. It's easy to think. But isolating it down to the real important things, that's important.
I'm going to tell you, the magic of today's show is doing a to-do list and bringing it down to the 20-80%. You do that, and you'll notice right away that by the time you get to lunchtime, you'll feel like you've produced.
Yeah. When did you hit that? When did you hit that?
Oh, I've been playing with it for, I don't know, a month.
Yeah?
Maybe.
What inspired you?
Just books. Something I read with Brian Tracy started it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, two things I want to say before we leave. If you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff, there's a bunch of stuff there that we give away. There's videos on how to do our 8 deals or 7 deals, plus the loan to value ratio. There's a bunch of forms, FSBO forms, all the stuff we were talking about today. A lot of it's for free. You can get it there. The other thing is we have been doing another podcast. It's called Flipping Houses Startup Bootcamp, and it's a sequence of 30-minute podcasts that if you're new or you aren't new and you wanna know what the sequence is, because today we were talking about the sequence, right? Knowing the sequence is important. This teaches you the sequence, and it's totally for free.
And if you want to learn the business instead of making it up,
right,
from TV.
And the point that you bring up is that this is the 20%. So if you want to know the 20% of what you should be doing, then this is the place to go. It's Flipping Houses Startup Bootcamp. If you go to any podcast platform, you'll find it. Mm-hmm. Or you can go to our redirect link, which is flippinghouses4rookies.com, free training podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Talk to you next week. Over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.